Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Richard N. back for your first video blog of the day for Saturday, January 30th, 2016, around 4:25 in the morning in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's going to be a nice and sunny day when the sun comes up in about 2.5 hours, going to be in the low 40s, which is actually 5 degrees above where it should be this time of year. Feels like an early spring day today, and this upcoming week above average temperatures. Wednesday could be records, but we won't enjoy it because it's going to be a heavy rain storm with wind. Usually these storms at this time of the year would be snow, but we've been lucky so far because of El Nino. But a shift in the weather pattern could happen at the end of February where we could have snow blitzes in New England. We'll wait and see about that. Some news to report. Boston Celtics beat the Orlando Magic by the score of 113-94, 5 straight wins by the Green Team. And the UMass Lowell Riverhawks beat the Arizona State Sun Devils hockey team. That's right, they have a hockey team by the score of 4-1. And that's about it on news. My first video blog subject of the day is about the continuation of the top 10 greatest everything and anything. I've now reached the top 10 greatest professional wrestling families of all time. On this list, I'm going to name the professional wrestling families that have had great in-ring performances inside the square circle, not including the Crockett family, which they were promoters, or the McMahon family, because most of them were promoters and they weren't really full-time in-ring wrestlers. And here they are. The top 10 greatest professional wrestling families of all time. Number 10 on this list is the Armstrong family, led by Bullet Bob Armstrong and his sons Brad, Scott, Steve, and Brian, who eventually is the Road Dogg, Jesse James. Bob Armstrong's a WWE Hall of Famer, and his sons had good careers in the world of professional wrestling. Brad was a stalwart in NWA, WCW for years. He passed away in 2012. Scott and Steve were like tag team wrestlers, and Brian became the Road Dogg, Jesse James, another great tag team wrestler. They come in at number 10. Number 9 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Poffel family, Angelo Poffel, and his sons Randy and Leapin' Lanny. Randy became Macho Man Randy Savage, and Leapin' Lanny Poffel was the Genius. Angelo had a great professional wrestling career in the 50s and 60s. He holds the record for most sit-ups ever, and towards the end of his career, Angelo was managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan in a few territories. Randy Savage is a WWE Hall of Famer, one of the most recognizable professional wrestlers of all time. And Leapin' Lanny had a decent career, was basically a job in the WWE in the mid and late 80s. Then he became the Genius, a kind of a comical mid-heel wrestler. Number 8 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Jarrett family. Jerry Jarrett and his son Jeff. Jerry Jarrett was a long-time wrestler in the Memphis territory. He had a great career down there. Eventually he became a promoter. His son Jeff is the chosen one, who had a long and illustrious career in Memphis, WWE, WCW, TNA, and now he's like a promoter as well. Great wrestling family. Number 7 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Graham family, which includes Eddie Graham, who was a long-time wrestler who wrestled in New York with his fictitious brother Dr. Jerry Graham. They're not related. Jerry Graham eventually wrestled in Florida. He bought the Championship Wrestling from Florida, had a long in-ring career into the late 1970s. He was briefly NWA president, and then his son Mike was a great wrestler as well in Florida, winning junior heavyweight championships all over the United States. Number 6 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Rhodes family, headed by the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, probably one of the most popular wrestlers of all time, who was a big star in championship wrestling from Florida, Jim Crockett Promotions and the WWE, multiple-time NWA World Champion. He's famous for being a booker in Mid-Atlantic, JCP, which he was famous for the Dusty finisher, but we won't talk about it. He was the Common Man in the WWE in 1989-1990, wearing polka dots. His son, Dustin Rhodes, was a great star in WCW. He was the Natural. Eventually, he went to the WWE to create an awesome character of Goldust. And Cody Rhodes is a WWE's. He's one of the top WWE superstars. He has a similar gimmick like Goldust Stardust. That was Dusty Rhodes' nickname. Number 5 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Funk family. Dory Funk Sr., longtime wrestler in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, who wrestled all over the United States. He mainly wrestled in Amarillo. His sons, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk, both of them were NWA World Champions. They were both legends of the ring. Dory Funk's famous for becoming a great trainer, and Terry's the hardcore legend who's retired so many times, but he comes back again. And Terry's famous for saying, "You egg-sucking dog, you Dusty Rhodes." Number 4 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Orton family. Bob Orton Sr., who had a long career in professional wrestling from many regional territories. He had 2 sons, Bob Orton Jr., also Cowboy Bob Orton, who was a great star in many regional territories, known as a WWE superstar in the 80s as Roddy Piper's henchman. He was nicknamed Ace. And his brother Barry was nicknamed Barry O, who did this, but he was famous for being a WWE jobber. And Bob Orton Jr.'s son, Randy Orton, RKO, who's been multiple-time WWE champion, famous for being for the RKO, which is kind of a version of the Stone Cold Stunner, and Diamond Cutter, who was nicknamed the Legend Killer. And that's a 3-generation family. Number 3 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Hart family. Stu Hart, who was a wrestling legend in Canada. He had 8 sons who became professional wrestlers. Bruce Smith, Keith, Wayne, Ross, Dean, Brett, and Owen. Brett and Owen were 2 of probably the best wrestlers. Brett's the Hitman, multiple-time WWE champion, multiple-time WWE Intercontinental champion, and multiple-time WWE World Tag Team champion, Hall of Famer. Owen Hart, the Rocket, who was a multiple-time WWE Tag Team champion and multiple-time WWE Intercontinental champion and the European champion. Owen passed away in 1999. It's also a 3rd-generation family because of Natita, which is a WWE diva. Number 2 on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Von Erich family. Fritz Von Erich, who was one of the greatest heels of all time in the 50s, playing a German Nazi sympathizer, and he was actually Jack Atkinson from Texas, who was a great heel. Eventually, he promoted in Texas, the Dallas territory, which became world-class championship wrestling. 5 out of his 6 sons were wrestlers: Kevin, David, Kerry, Mike, and Chris, and they were the stars of world-class championship wrestling. Kerry was a former NWA World Champion and WWE Intercontinental Champion. All the family members are in the WWE Hall of Fame. And number one on this list of the greatest professional wrestling families of all time, the Enoli family. They are led by Afa and Sika, the Wild Samoans, and many of their relatives became professional wrestlers, including Fatu, Samu, Tama, the Usos, Roman Reigns, The Rock, and others. The Enoli family is the best professional wrestling family of all time. And that's about it on that. I'll be back later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, and Google Plus for 2 more video blogs. The first one will be about the Bruins mid-season report, and the third and final video blog of the night, I'm going to have to let it out of the bag. This was a surprise, but it is contraction in sports. What I think could it happen in professional sports contraction. And don't forget, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and Google Plus. Send me in your questions, comments, concerns, shout-outs, and plugs, and it will be addressed. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie wedding guy. Molly Rosenblatt of WCC All Rocks and has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart, so stunning. She's got nice legs as well. Amy Swinsley, so awesome. Michelle Beadle of ESPN Sports Nation's the best. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Shockey, former principal of the NHS, this act will not be tolerated at the NHS. See you later, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Bye for now.